What's going on, my friends, my family, my fellow gamers? This is your boy Puertorock77, your only friend in these YouTube streets, back at you with another video. And I'm happy to announce, and you probably already know about it, but if just in case you don't, Sony rescheduled their PS5 reveal for June 11th at 1 p.m. Pacific. So for those that are in Germany, that's 1 p.m. Pacific. That will be 4 p.m. Eastern and 10 p.m. Central European time. The event was originally was supposed to be June 6th, if I remember correctly, but due to the current events of the movement for Black Lives Matter and you know, the riots and everything that's going on and the fight for equality, Sony and many other companies that were having events postponed their events, but it looks like it's set for June 11th, barring, you know, any alien invasion or some other thing, because 2020 has been chock full of just, you know, struggles and fights, and it's just insane how 2020 is turning around. But we got the future of gaming, and it's an interesting how would you say title that Sony chose to use, the future of gaming, you know. And why is that important? Why is that in relation to? Well, it's a tie-in to the architecture to the PlayStation 5. Sony put a big focus on their architecture, the pipeline, the SSD, and truly the communication with the SSD, and that's the important thing. And that there is what many are getting wrong. All right, and simply because when you have the conversation of what PlayStation 5 is trying to do, they always try to tie it in with Xbox Series X, as if PlayStation's existence or Sony's decision on how they want to develop and create the console is in line or somehow mixed in with anything Xbox or whatever, when quite frankly that's just not how it is. Sony had a vision to take their next generation console and do something different, vice follow the same blueprint. Now, of course, you still got similar things. You got upgraded GPU, you got an upgraded CPU, you got more RAM, you know, and improvements in sounds, improvements in controller with the dual Shock 5 or DualSense 5, right? So you still got those basic things, but Sony wanted to take it further, and from a developer mindset, they finally feel that technology is advanced enough that they could finally address a limitation that's been plaguing gaming for a while, and that's communication with the storage device. You know, past hardware design, pulling data from the storage, whether it's from disk, hard disk drive, or an SSD, has been limited, and because of that, game design has been limited or had limitations on how to design games due to this limitation on how to pull data off, you know, the storage device or storage point, right? And storage point could be, again, a disk, whether it's a disk, a hard drive, or SSD. It all leads to the same limitation. Sony decided to focus the architecture to address this limitation and open up a new way or new avenue of approach to game design, you know. So now developers, with the removal of this limitation, can take game design a step further. And usually when you address game design, that's where potentially new levels of gameplay can be implemented, you know. And that's where Sony is headed. Someone didn't believe in this. They thought it was PR talk, and oh, excuse me, let's see if I could get this going. Oh damn, I can't get this image going. Why is this not working? Oh, here we go. Woo, excuse me. So here you see is a gentleman on YouTube, popular YouTuber, Linus Tech Tips. Channel, a very good channel on all things technical and stuff like that. Well, as you see his face here, he made a video. Well, to backtrack, he made a video where he had reservations about Sony's architecture, about what to do with the SSD, and he felt that people like Tim Sweeney, from Epic, who helped develop, or who's developing the Unreal Engine 5, that they're overselling their product, and that they're not being truthful to the consumer, and they're all overhyping stuff, right? So he was on a podcast saying that, Tim Sweeney was not being truthful, and that he showed examples of PC SSD, and how fast it was. He even found someone that was faster than what PlayStation 5 have, and he called Tim Sweeney out. I guess with conversations directly with Tim Sweeney, Linus Tech Tips and his staff realized they made a mistake, that they jumped the gun a bit, and that if you pay attention to his video, a Linus Tech Tip, that they went after Tim Sweeney on what they thought he said and not what he actually said. And that's a mistake a lot of people go through. A lot of people, especially on social media, they attack you, or they try to disprove your point by arguing a point you never made in the first place, and then they feel they won, and Linus Tech Tip realized that. He went at Tim Sweeney, not on the merit of what Tim Sweeney was trying to say, but on the merit of what Linus Tech Tip thought he said. And Linus, I don't know if that's his real name, I would just call him that, admitted that he let the influence of console war, what other people are saying, just the heat of, PlayStation's advancement and conversation get to him, instead of just being what he normally does, is research and just create content based on the research and information. So he made this video apologizing and expressing his disappointment that he fell in on that. And if you watch this video, he admits that he was wrong. He admit that he didn't directly talk about what Tim Sweeney actually said. And when he dialed it back and decided to do research, he realized what Tim Sweeney and now what everybody else was talking about with the PS5 architecture and what PlayStation or Sony is trying to do. He dialed it back and apologized for it. He even went as far as to explain why he misunderstood and what he got wrong. And ultimately, he realized that the PlayStation 5 architecture is, theoretically on paper, an amazing piece of product that could potentially do some amazing things, because it addresses something that has plagued gaming for a while, which is the limitation in accessing the data from the hard drive directly, or from the storage unit directly. And with things like accelerators and all these components, Sony may have addressed this and provided an architecture to developers that they can now expand their game design in ways that they weren't able to before, because previous architectures never addressed this limitation. And he realized that, and he created a good video talking about that and thoroughly explaining with it, right? So why do I bring this up, right? The truth is, there's a lot of gamers out there, YouTubers, content creators, supposed tech guys, that are not really interested in what Sony's doing with the PS5, because their favorite platform might be PC, it might be, well, it's most definitely Xbox, because those are the ones that are the biggest culprits. They're not really interested in just sitting back and be like, you know what, this has nothing to do with Xbox, this really has nothing to do with PC, this is about PlayStation, the merit of PlayStation, and how it applies and what Sony vision is, and then what can it do for the gamer who decides to play on PlayStation, in particular PlayStation 5. And that's really it. This has nothing really to do with Xbox or PC in any way, right? This is more have to do with PlayStation gaming and what Sony is trying to do with its platform in gaming, in its own mind. It has nothing to do with the direction of PC. It has nothing to do with the direction of Xbox Series X. It's totally different platforms, and they're going to do what they're going to do. Xbox Series X and Xbox and Microsoft, they're going to do what they're going to do. PC, it's an open platform. Many companies participate and take part in the overall build of PC, from MSI, Nvidia, AMD. It's just, Intel. It's just a madhouse of hardware manufacturers, and that you just plug and play and put pieces together. So that's how PC is. And Sony is doing their thing with the PlayStation 5. What Sony has decided for PlayStation 5 is upon the consumer to choose if they accept what PlayStation is trying to do for the PlayStation 5. But in no way, it doesn't really have much to do with Xbox, or a consistent attempt to bring up Xbox in this conversation, Oh, but, Xbox is going to do this. No one cares. The majority don't care. Hell, majority of people don't even buy Xbox consoles. So that shows you how little this doesn't have anything to do with the PlayStation 5. PlayStation 4 sold over 100 million. Xbox might have sold 50 million. So that just shows you the majority who are interested in what Sony's doing is because we're interested in the PlayStation 5, and we like the idea that Sony's doing something not as generic as a GPU and CPU upgrade, but trying to address and progress and push the gaming industry forward through new technologies, new architecture, and see where the developers can take it. All right. So far, we've seen developers very happy with the architecture, right? Lots of conversations, right? And then we got some big names that address and says that this is pretty impressive. John Carmack, Tim Sweeney. There was another developer that did a live stream of the Mark Cerny presentation, and he made live points, So ultimately, to the audience that are looking at this video right now, we don't need, I ain't gonna say we don't need, is trying to get validation from YouTubers or people on Twitter. It doesn't make sense, At the end of the day, listen to the people who are making the games. Listen to the people who have access to the PlayStation 5. They're the ones that are telling you what they're happy about. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. What Xbox is doing, what another brand, another console is doing, doesn't really matter. They're going to do what they're going to do for their platforms, right? And PlayStation is going to do for, Sony's going to do what they want to do with the PlayStation platform. At the end of the day, it's upon you as the individual on who you want to rock out with and who do you want to put your money towards on. Me personally, the PlayStation 5 is doing everything I want, because the idea that game design can be improved or be taken to new levels is very exciting to me, vice just a generic upgrade to 4K and whatever. Because if that's what I really cared about personally, I would just game on PC, because PC already does 4K, even does 4K 60, even does beyond 60 frames, right? Now you got guys doing 4K 90, 4K 100, right? And I guarantee PC is going to be the first platform that truly does native 8K gaming. So if that's really the big deal, if that would have been my big deal, I would have just went PC gaming if that was my focus, But I like the idea of console manufacturers trying their best to push gaming forward, beyond just graphics, fidelity, and resolution and frame rate, Changing game design and potentially bringing new gameplay mechanics is to me a bigger factor in gaming and pushes gaming forward, right? So that's what I got. Last note, with the June 11th review, I will be live streaming it, so I will have a podcast. So please come join me and rock out with the crew. I'm going to try to have the crew together so we can all enjoy it and see what Sony has. My expectation, I could pretty sure we're going to see actual gameplay of games. It's not just going to be a trailer and stuff. I think we might even see some gameplay and games actually being played, which would be amazing. I hope they show some first party or exclusive titles directly for only PlayStation 5, because those are the titles I trust that can show the true advantage of what the PlayStation 5 can do with this new architecture. And it could be good. And then, of course, I wouldn't mind some trailers of future projects and long-term projects that are out there that will be coming to PlayStation 5 within the next 3 years or so. Things like that. So, something immediately what we're going to get our launch, what we're going to get, within the first year of launch, and then the long-term projects 2-3 years out of what's being made. And I hope they delivered that, okay? And then they could talk a little bit about, the controller, maybe talk about the next level of PSN, not PlayStation Now, but PSN, if there's any improvements in relation to the PlayStation 5 in terms of dealing with online multiplayer, download speeds, things like that. Maybe show off the UI, and hopefully we could get a price. You know, I know some rumors, some people feel we're not going to get the price. Hopefully Sony would just get it out the way and do that. I think that would be a big deal, especially if it's a good price point to get that out the way. That's going to be a big win for them, and it'll be a big win for gamers. All right. But anyway, this is your boy Puertorock77, your only friend in these YouTube streets. Thank you so much for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel and you're checking out this video for the first time, just hit the subscribe button. It's free. All right. Hit the like button and enjoy the future content that I push out. All right. Hey, you guys take care. Thank you very much. And peace.